Here I'm going to use the sniplet maker again. Make sure that bookmarklet is loaded. And this time I'm going to do something a little more sophisticated, and I'm going to try and do it so I can edit it after the fact to add new functionality or at least fix the existing functionality. It's still just going to be fun eye candy, not anything particularly useful, but we're just showing how to code something up. I would like you to make a resizable dialog box that has 3 buttons in it that all of them have rounded corners, have a modern font, and are laid out nicely and centered. Each one of them, when pressed, will call a function. That function will be a global function so that it's hot patchable so that I can change it later. Please don't forget that. And I'd like the first one to grab all the SVG elements in the web page, and I want it to apply some animation to it that lasts for 3 seconds and restores it to what it used to be. Period. It should change the color of all the path elements within the SVG to a randomly selected bright, rich color. And I want it to pulse the SVG to make it look bigger and smaller a few times during the animation. And I would like it to apply a sort of a glow look. It would be a blur on the path elements. This would be a subtle blur. Don't get carried away so it blurs all the way to the edge. Just a few pixel blur to make it look kind of glowy. And of course, this will all be restored to what it is before or after the animation. And let's do the second button where it will spin elements around in 3D. It will find random elements on the page and rotate them around 3 axes in an animation before it restores them back to where they were. And it should apply some perspective to them to make them look nice in 3D. That'll make it look a little more interesting. And finally, for the third one, let's do some sort of rainbow wave that passes through all the text on the page. And it'll just color them in bright, rich rainbow colors and then restore them back to what they used to be. If you can do it as sort of a wave animation, that would be good. And again, remember to make the functions global so that I can edit them after the fact. Unfortunately, I keep having to remind it to make the functions global. It used to know to do that, but it seemed to get a little bit sloppy on that. That's an important thing, and let's hope it does it this time. You notice that it found that this was a code box, and it put those little things on it. I can, turn that off if I don't want it to use that. I can edit it with this, but I don't need to do any of that stuff. It's using pretty much vanilla JavaScript. This is a global function as I told it to be, so I can change that function later. It's got 3 functions there for each of the 3 effects, and it looks like it's done. So I can say make sniplet, and let's call this cool effects. And I'm going to put it up here and run it and see what happens. Okay, we've got 3 buttons. Notice resizable dialog box. That's just using my existing thing that I've supplied it, so it knows how to do that handy thing. And I'm going to say animate SVGs, and look, it did something here. Okay, are they pulsing? Well, a little bit. That's not really necessarily exactly what I wanted. Rotate elements, I like that. Okay, is it going to go back to where it was? Yes, it is. Very nice. And rainbow wave text. Let's see what it does for that. Okay, well, changed it all to, I'm not sure was that a wave? I don't know. But let's go ahead and try to see if we can get that SVG animation better. Okay. I don't really like your SVG animation. It doesn't do the pulsing that I asked for. I want it to get bigger and smaller in a smooth animation a few times during the animation. And I want it to do a more subtle blur effect. I think you probably applied a Gaussian blur, and that's not what I want. I want just a regular blur, so it's just a few pixel blur. And I want it to stay animating, pulsing bigger and smaller during the whole period and then go back to where it was. So see if you can do that one better and just replace that one function. Okay. It got most of the, I'm glad it got the word Gaussian correct. It seems to get that wrong. A lot of times it does the blur with a Gaussian blur. That's, just a blurrier blur, and I don't like it. So I've seen that before. So I tried to tell it what to do to not do that. And let's see, we're going to go make sniplet. Notice that it only did that one function. It's still using the one above here. So I can just drag cool effects up here, replace that, and I'm going to run it, and let's see if my animate SVGs is better. That's what I wanted. Okay, much better. It kind of crops it a little bit, but it's not bad. And all the other ones still work. You can do them all at once if you want, and it should restore it right back to what it used to be. I like that. So cool. And let's just show you, you can do this on any website. I think I showed that in the last thing. Yep, there it goes. Okay. Seems to work on any old website. And I'm going to show some of the useful things that we can do on websites to manipulate websites, to scrape elements, to find information in them, or just change the way it looks. I've got a lot of these things that are a whole lot more useful than this one, but this one's awful fun, isn't it?